Everyone knows 9.99 is a trick. Everyone has seen it. Everyone has rolled their eyes at it. Everyone understands that 9.99 is basically 10. And yet the trick survived. It survived supermarkets, restaurants, airline add-ons, hotel mini-bars, app stores, e-commerce checkouts, and subscription pages. Which means the interesting question is no longer whether 9.99 is fake. The interesting question is this: if the trick is obvious, why does modern commerce still keep using it? The answer starts in the first second. Not the first minute, not the careful comparison, the first second. Because that is when the brain usually decides what kind of number it is looking at. 9.99 does not arrive as pure arithmetic. It arrives as a category signal. It says this belongs under 10. This belongs in the deal zone. This belongs in the part of the shelf, menu, or screen where the risk feels lower. The move from 10 to 9 is a psychological border crossing. That is why 9.99 is not really about saving money. It is about telling a faster story. 10 feels complete, rounded, settled. 9.99 feels like it has been cut, sharpened, brought down from somewhere higher. And that matters because people rarely buy inside perfect calm. They buy while walking, while scrolling, while hungry, while tired, while doing mental math they do not really want to do. In those moments, the story the number tells can beat the number itself. Once you stop thinking of 9.99 as a supermarket habit, you start seeing it everywhere. You see it on digital menus, software plans, streaming upgrades, ride booking add-ons, checkout upsells, airport kiosks, and retail shelves where one product is meant to feel like the sensible compromise. This is what makes the tactic durable. It is not tied to one store format. It fits any environment where buyers are moving quickly and comparison is slightly messy. Modern commerce does not ask you to remember prices slowly. It asks you to react to them instantly. The faster the environment, the more useful the shortcut becomes. Think about the places where 9.99 feels most natural. Discount signage, busy aisles, food delivery apps, sale filters, 3-tier pricing pages, last-minute travel purchases. These are not calm spaces. They are engineered spaces. Recent retail research points in the same direction. Left-digit effects get stronger when people rely more on heuristics, when signage is more arousing, and when the retailer does not slow the decision down by making the real percentage discount too explicit. 9.99 is not only a pricing tactic, it is a pacing tactic. There is another layer here. 9.99 does not just feel cheaper, it often feels safer. Safe does not mean mathematically correct. Safe means familiar, legible, socially normal. It feels like the kind of price a regular person is allowed to say yes to without needing a speech. That matters because most buying decisions are not only about value, they are also about permission. Can I explain this to myself quickly? Can I say yes without feeling impulsive? Can I put this into the mental bucket called reasonable? Think about restaurant menus. Think about the snack aisle. Think about the small upgrade on a subscription screen. In each case, the buyer is not only reading a number. The buyer is asking what kind of decision this is. Rounded prices can feel decisive, formal, even committed. 9-ending prices often feel softer than that, more like retail language, more like ordinary buying territory. That softens the emotional threshold. And the threshold matters because people protect their self-image while they shop. They do not want to feel wasteful. They do not want to feel tricked by their own desire. They do not want a small purchase to feel like a big statement. So 9.99 helps by placing the purchase just inside a boundary that feels easier to defend. It says this is still normal. This is still controlled. This is still you being sensible. That feeling is not an accounting fact. But in real life, it is often what gets the sale over the line. And usually, 9.99 is not selling itself alone. It is winning inside a lineup. Next to 12, under $14.99, beside a crossed-out original price, under a premium plan that exists partly to make the next option feel reasonable. This is where the tactic becomes much more powerful than the cliché version people talk about. Because what looks like a price is often just a position, a place in a visual ladder, a role inside a menu, a signal inside a comparison grid. The store is not only asking, is this cheap? It is asking compared to what? Think about a 3-tier pricing table. The cheapest option looks stripped down. The most expensive option looks aspirational. The middle or entry value option gets framed as the smart choice. Now think about supermarket packs, coffee sizes, meal combos, streaming plans, ride upgrades, checkout bundles, and save more quantity ladders. In all of those settings, the price ending works with the surrounding architecture. The anchor sets the ceiling. The crossed-out number suggests a history. The highlighted plan suggests the intended answer. The neighboring price points teach the eye where value is supposed to live. That means 9.99 is often not doing the whole job. It is joining a cast. And once the answer is built into the surrounding numbers, 9.99 starts acting less like a price and more like choreography. You are not just seeing one number. You are seeing a staged comparison. And staged comparisons are where modern pricing gets most of its persuasive force. But the tactic is not universal. And that is what makes it credible. Because in luxury, prestige, and certain premium contexts, 9.99 can do the wrong job. It can make something feel pushed, merchandised, slightly eager. A premium brand often wants the opposite. It wants completeness, control, certainty. That is why you so often see rounded prices in luxury hospitality, fine dining, premium skincare, private services, high-end consulting, and flagship products. Rounded pricing can feel finished. It can signal that the seller is not negotiating with your instincts at the shelf edge. It can signal that the price was set as a statement, not trimmed to squeeze one more conversion out of hesitation. That matters in categories where confidence is part of the product. If you are selling craftsmanship, authority, reliability, or status, then a too obvious bargain cue can quietly damage the aura. The price starts sounding like retail promotion instead of conviction. And that is the subtle tension recent research points toward. 9 ending prices may help value perception, but they can also carry a lower quality shadow, and that shadow matters more when the purchase is supposed to feel elevated. You can still see 9 ending prices in premium environments, but notice where they usually appear. Often not at the purest prestige layer. More often in entry products, add-ons, outlet channels, limited offers, or places where the brand temporarily wants traffic rather than reverence. So the failure of 9.99 tells us something useful. Pricing is not only about lowering resistance. Sometimes it is about projecting enough authority that resistance is not the main story at all. That is why 9.99 survived long after everyone learned the trick. Because the tactic was never depending on ignorance alone. It was depending on conditions. On speed, on clutter, on comparison, on fatigue, on visual design, on the simple fact that human judgment is often categorical before it is numerical. But there is one more reason it survives. Systems keep reproducing it. Retailers do not build prices from philosophy every morning. They inherit templates, software defaults, promotion calendars, merchandiser habits, category playbooks, and dashboards shaped by years of testing. Price endings become operational language. The e-commerce team has default price bands. The merchandising team has standard ladder structures. The POS and promotion tools are designed around familiar endings. Marketplace sellers copy what appears to work in their category. Competitors mirror one another because nobody wants to be the only brand speaking a different visual pricing language. So even when individual shoppers know the pattern keeps getting reinstalled from the business side. That is why the tactic looks old, but remains modern. It is easy to deploy. It fits existing systems. It harmonizes with discount framing, search filters, menu design, checkout prompts, and plan comparison tables. And because it often still lifts conversion enough in middle market contexts, nobody has a strong incentive to retire it. You do not need people to believe that 9.99 is honestly different from 10. You only need it to land in a different mental bucket quickly enough to shape the feeling around the purchase. And modern commerce is full of systems built to deliver exactly that kind of fast impression, over and over again. Once you see that, 9.99 stops looking like a cheap old trick. It starts looking like a clue to how pricing really works in the wild. Not as a spreadsheet, not as a pure number, but as a mix of perception, timing, framing, and emotional permission. The shelf is staged, the menu is staged, the checkout is staged, the comparison is staged. The price is one actor inside that staging. So the next time you see 9.99, do not stop at the ending itself. Look at the neighbors. Look at the anchor above it. Look at the crossed out number. Look at the best value badge. Look at the bundle framing. Look at the urgency prompt. Look at whether the environment is fast or reflective, premium or mass, crowded or calm. Ask what kind of buyer the page or the shelf is trying to create in that moment. Is it pushing you toward speed, toward safety, toward the identity of being sensible, toward the relief of choosing the option that feels easiest to defend? That is the more useful lens. Not, is this number fake, but what whole system is making this number feel natural? Because buying is rarely just arithmetic. It is context, speed, identity, trust, comparison, and the feeling of staying on the safe side of a boundary. That is why the tactic still works in some places and falls flat in others. And that is why understanding 9.99 tells you something bigger than one retail trick. It tells you how markets shape perception before logic fully arrives. Once you notice that, you do not just see a price ending. You see the machine around it. And once you see the machine, you start shopping differently.